Hi guys, welcome to this new YouTube video. I'm about to show you an error which is which is going to help you, and I'm going to show you the solution to this error. So now let's take for example that you have just created your cluster, or you have been added to your cluster, and you're trying to get the nodes, or you're trying to connect your cluster to your desktop computer on your VS Code. So you try to type kubectl get node and you're getting this error, could not get current server API group list, and you're getting this error. You're getting this error. You're getting this error. So you're unable to connect to that cluster using your computer. What do? It is very simple. You need to go to the .cube file. And now when you try to cd to the .cube file, on your desktop, for desktop users, it's same, and for Mac users, it's same. It is where your username is found. So when you try to seed into the .cube file, it says this part could not be found on PowerShell. You need to make sure you are in your user. If you're on Mac, if you're on your user, cd where your username is found, okay? So you have to cd out, just as I did. And once you're in your user, you just need to cd into the .cube file. Once you have cd into the .cube file, when you cut the .cube file, you're going to see existing clusters, okay? You're going to see existing clusters, the certificate, ARN, and everything. So once you've seen that, you now know you're in the correct path, right? And you can equally do ls. If you do ls, you're going to see, let me increase this. When you do ls in your .cube file, you're going to see config. You're going to see config. You can cut this config. You need to cut this config. But first, you need to run a command. You need to run a command. Which command will you run? AWS SCS get dash caller dash identity. You need to run this command correctly, okay? AWS SCS get dash caller dash identity. When you get it now, you're going to see the user which you are using on your computer, all right? Make sure this user have been added as a user in your EKS cluster. In my case, I'm using the default root user that created this EKS cluster, right? I'm using the default root user that created this EKS cluster. So in this case, if you are not part of this EKS cluster, or you were given a project by your team and they didn't add you as a user in this EKS cluster, when you try to connect to that cluster, it's good, you'll be getting a lot of error messages. So next, if you have been added successfully by a team as a user in that cluster, in that EKS cluster, what you have to do now next is run this command: AWS EKS update dash cube config dash dash. What is the region of your cluster? Maybe you're using US West 1, US West 2. Ask the region where this cluster was created and the cluster name. In my case, I'm just using a demo cluster. What is your cluster name and your cluster name? Once you update it, you're good to go. Now, you do kubectl get nodes and it works. Just cube ctl get nodes. So I'm able to communicate with this cluster. If I go back here, type EKS Elastic Kubernetes Service. Clusters. Where is my cluster created? There's no cluster in this region. As per this example that I just showed to you, where was my cluster created? In US East 1. You see what I told you? So maybe you came and put that region, you miss a region. Make sure you're in the region. So now I'm going to go to US East 1. I'm clicking US East 1. Now, can you see the cluster? Can you see the cluster now? Demo. This is a cluster name. It's a newly company created cluster, okay? So this is the cluster. You must be a user. You must be a user to this cluster before you're able to access it. Number one, once you have been added as a user and you're trying to still connect your EKS cluster to maybe your VS Code, you must run this command, AWS EKS update.kubeconfig, that's as region, your region, and your name. So now we are good to go. If you like this video and your problem has finally been solved, please do well to subscribe, share, and comment all your further issues in the comment section. Thank you and stay tuned for our next video. Bye-bye.